about your character that while you're looking at cutting back food in schools for hungry kids, you were comfortable clipping the ticket for your own accommodation?
Look, I disagree. I disagree. I said, that's...
It's funny how he disagrees with her asking him about his moral standing. I disagree. What, you disagree with I'm being asked about my moral standing?
I disagree that I have morals.
I've explained the situation about Premier House. I want to go live in Premier House. That's where I've wanted to go since I became Prime Minister. The reality is I received a report from Chris Hipkins, which he had received, that said there's a lot of investment needed in there because there's a lot of repairs and long-term repairs and maintenance issues, right? And so I'm trying to find a way to fix those up. In the intervening period, all I've said is, look, I'll stay on in my flat. There are, within the rules, all MPs and Ministers get an allowance, and all I've said is...
Claimed it.
Sorry?
No one has claimed it for 30 years.
Sorry, what do you mean? All MPs and Ministers have an allowance?
Okay, this is the bit that's not true. This is actually not true, and I'm going to play... The lovely Karen Plunkett's going to help us 2 times tonight, Chewy. The first time is when his guest today, who was a List MP, explains how it works, the actual accommodation supplement works, and not everyone gets what Mr. Luxon gets. He gets $1,000 flat fee because he's the Prime Minister. Not everybody gets this. So we've got to be clear. What he says there is either because he doesn't understand, which is always possible with him, or he's just choosing to lie.
Within the rules, all MPs and Ministers get an allowance, and all I've said is...
Claimed it.
Sorry?
No one has claimed it for 30 years.
Sorry, what do you mean?
No
all MPs and Ministers have an allowance? All I'm saying
no Prime Minister
because Premier House has been available for them to go live in. And so if you live outside of the Greater Wellington...
Now think about that. Premier House is available for them to live in. It doesn't cost them anything. I'm sitting in my freehold apartment, which doesn't cost me anything, so I'm going to take it. We'll just get to the end of this.
In the area, that's where that allowance kicks in. But what I'm just saying to you is, look, my well-being within the rules, I'm saying it's a distraction, not happening.
In that house, but it's not good enough for you to live in.
Again, a lot's happened since that former Prime Minister was actually in that house, and as you know, there's a new report that came out.
Lots happened to that house since 14 months ago. All those Wellington earthquakes and stuff, all those, it's fallen down. She was only in a tent by the end of it.
From an independent group that's not political, that actually is designed so that actually these issues are apolitical, and to make sure that actually it can be invested in. We're working our way through that report. We'll see what we can do to try and make sure that we can maintain Premier House so that it actually is there for future Prime Ministers as well, which I would love it to be there. I would love it to be more available to the community to be used as well. In an intervening period, as I said to you, not taking the allowance will repay it. Don't want to be distracted.
Okay, so give me a couple of secs here, guys, to put out what we're going to put out, and then you can jump in. So the first thing is, he didn't say I was wrong, right? So he didn't say, yeah, I made a mistake. I didn't quite, like my staff just ticked all the boxes. It was a mistake I shouldn't have. What he said is, it's a distraction. So what he said was, he didn't go, yeah, that was a mistake I shouldn't have. He went, oh, this is a distraction. Now, that I think is quite telling that he still will not actually admit to any wrongdoing. Now, we know within the rules he didn't do anything wrong, but the question there from Jenna about school lunches was fucking brilliant. And later on in this hour, too, when we talk about David Seymour saying we can't afford school lunches, the thing is, we can afford school lunches. It just depends what you prioritise. And at the moment, big tobacco, big petroleum, landlords are prioritised higher than school kids getting lunches. So we're not going to buy this. Before you jump in, I know I'm ranting now. I want to play you one thing, because remember what he said, everyone's entitled to this, and that's horseshit. This is the List MP from Tauranga, and his surname, ironically, is Luxton, Luxton. I didn't even know. This is him explaining how the system works for getting your accommodation supplement. Have a listen. If you miss it, I'll explain it at the end. Have a listen.
Parliamentary services. This is all new to me as a new MP. Parliamentary services pay a accommodation supplement, some kind of allowance that you send in your tenancy agreement, and you still pay it out of your account, but that comes in with your pay.
So what MPs do is they provide evidence for how much their mortgage or their rent is, and they get reimbursed. He has no mortgage and he has no rent. It's a freehold property. So when he says everyone's entitled to this, it's not the case. The Prime Minister is entitled to a flat $1,000 a week fee. So please don't listen to him when he says, yes, it's in the rules, but this is not like everybody else. This is a special entitlement that the Prime Minister gets that the previous 30 years not one single Prime Minister has taken.